Hey there, Shalligators. This is a different kind of video. Normally, I weave politics into the stuff that we talk about, and because politics, it's not just politics anymore. It affects every part of our life. It's very divisive. But I usually weave it into stuff about like dating and, celebrities and the Kardashians. Today, I just want to talk some common sense stuff. I want to share my opinion, because God forbid I ever keep my opinion to myself, about being a gun owner who's also very, very in favor of extremely strict gun control. How do those two things reconcile? How can you be both? Well, I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you why those two things are not actually contrary beliefs at all, because I am a Democrat, ride or die Democrat, will vote yellow dog Democrat until I die, but I love guns. Before we get started, I just want to remind you guys to follow me on Instagram at ShallonXO. Also, if you want some hookup tips, we've got some new videos up on Flaze about all things wiener. We're talking wiener stuff. We've got BJ tips, HJ tips. Also, if you're new here on this channel, go ahead and click subscribe. We do about 4 videos a week. We break down celebrity news and gossip for the lessons we can learn. So like Kim and Kanye divorcing, when to leave a broken man. So you're going to come for the gossip and all that tea, but you're going to stay for the life lessons and level up. But today, we're going to talk guns. So if you're not new here, if you're a returning Shalligator, you guys know that for, the last decade plus of my life, I lived in New York City. And I recently, last year, moved to Montana. Huge shift. Every single thing is different. I was a blonde in New York. Now I'm a redhead in Montana. And one of the first things I did when I moved there is I bought guns. One of the reasons I did move is because I had very specific security threats against my life. And it's been going on for a while now, given what I do as a YouTuber. Also, I dated someone who cheated on me with a girl who ended up stalking me. And she would do dry runs to my apartment in New York, practicing to come and kill me. And I remember at the time, I was so furious that I didn't have any weapons. She was coming from DC, and which is basically Virginia. You can get a gun in Virginia. You can't have a gun in New York City. If you get caught with a gun in New York City, it is automatic 1 year in jail. No trial, no nothing, no negotiation, automatic penalty. So it's not something people risk. You just can't have guns in a population that dense, right? Which is ironic because it's like, everyone's annoying me. I need a gun to get people away from me. Like, you can understand it, but you cannot do that. And so, of course, I get it. But I was so angry that like I didn't have the power to defend myself against someone who had access to something that was so deadly. And I was like, I want to live someplace where I can defend myself. That wasn't the whole reason I moved, but it was a factor. I wanted less people, a lower population density. So the most densely populated state is actually New Jersey. It's 1,241 people per square mile. The density in Montana is 7 people per square mile. That's how I like it, baby. We're like the 3rd lowest density. And so, yeah, I got there, and the first thing, my first gun that I bought was a shotgun. I have a 20 gauge Mossberg. I love her. She's my baby, Dark Betty, I call her. She's hanging in my my dining room. You guys have probably seen her in the background of some videos. She's just one of many. I have a handgun in my car, in the console of my car, as almost everybody does in Montana. I have one in my kitchen. I have one in my bedroom. I am pretty well armed. I wish I had some of my guns to flash here, but I'm out in California and, we don't bring them out here. You can't even drive them out here. Against the law. I'm a very obedient girl, so they're staying in Montana. Oh, but I miss them. I have them. I've never shot at a person. I've never shot at an animal, and I will never shoot at an animal, any kind of animal, no matter what. If some wolf, bear, bison hybrid is charging me, I will happily accept death. I cannot kill an animal. I can't. I'll kill a person if they threaten my life or my family's life. Absolutely. Don't start it. I always say, I don't start a fight, but I'll finish one. I shoot targets. I shoot clay pigeons, they're like just clay discs. They're called clay pigeons if you don't know. Targets, paper targets, just nothing. It's just for fun. I first started shooting guns in ROTC. I was in Army ROTC. It's kind of like junior Army training. In college, that was the first weapon I ever learned on was an M16. I can assemble and disassemble one blindfolded in 30 seconds. There's a skill not a lot of girls have, but I can do it. And shooting I loved it so much because it made me feel so small. And I mean this in a good way. The way like you look up at the night sky and you look through a telescope and you're like, whoa, I am just like a speck of dust. Looking out over the ocean, you feel that. Standing next to a jet engine, you can feel the power of something. That's how I felt when I shot my weapon. And we didn't call it a gun, it's a weapon. I felt small, and it reminded me that like, hey, this is a really powerful thing that I'm holding. This is the destroyer of worlds. This is not something you just swing around, you throw it over your arm, boo, 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 boo. There was an extreme amount of respect that came with operating that weapon, and that was drilled into us in ROTC, and that I have carried that respect throughout my relationship with weaponry. And it was good for me to feel like, whoa, okay, I'm operating something that has a big consequence attached to it. It's kind of like the way you feel when you first drive. It's like, holy shit, I've been in the passenger seat, but now that I'm driving, if you really stop and think about the consequences of driving and what it could do, you take it really seriously, right? So I've got a lot of weapons now. I take gun classes continuously just so I'm good at it. I'm handling the right, my stance is right. You know, again, you don't want to own something that you don't know how to use. And one thing that the Army taught us is never carry a weapon that can be turned against you. If you don't know how to use a knife, don't pull a knife on someone. They're going to be like, boop. If you don't know how to use a gun, don't carry a gun. You're going to shoot yourself in the balls. That's happened to, so it happens. Little things like that. So that was always my attitude towards guns. I treat them extremely carefully, extremely judiciously. They have their lockbox. They have, they have their little place. It's not just I'm not like Yosemite Sam, like whipping them out at a party. We don't do that. But they are loaded in my house, because I have them for personal protection. I had a security issue recently. Someone in my life became what I believed was a bit unhinged. And I didn't know how deep that was going to go. I didn't know how that was going to play out. And I sure as shit wasn't going to risk my safety to find out, However, like I said at the beginning of this video, I am a Democrat. And I am a Democrat for 3 reasons. 3 reasons that no matter who a Republican candidate might be, if they are anointed by God and the Pope himself, herself is God, Pope himself, I still wouldn't vote Republican. The environment, because fuck people, right? Abortion access, and gun control. These are the reasons I am a Democrat. These are the reasons I will be a Democrat forever. I vote not just to protect my own interests, but I vote to help people who don't have as much of a voice, who don't have wealth, who don't have an education, who are perhaps newer to this country generationally. I vote to help them. I can always afford an abortion. I can fly to France and get one if I need to. I can live someplace where the environment is beautiful and perfect. I'm lucky like that. I can have other security measures besides guns. I don't have kids in school. I don't even like work in an office that people are going to shoot up. I'm kind of on my own. Not everyone is that lucky. So I vote to help them. So, Shallon, wait a minute. You are in favor of gun control, but you own gun? How? What? I don't believe, and this is based on my experience in ROTC, I don't believe any private citizen should have a gun. Police and the military, that's it. Those are the only people who need guns. When we are personally armed, it dilutes the power of the military and the police. It does. But you are allowed to have guns. I don't believe like 80% of people who have kids should be allowed to have kids, but yet they are, right? I don't believe everyone who wants a dog is qualified to have, to have a dog or even a fucking guinea pig, right? But they do. So, because I'm allowed to have them, because I have a very high confidence, in my respect for weaponry, I'm constantly trying to learn and evolve. I have guns. I have made that decision for myself. But like I said, I'm in favor of gun control. Everything that's gone on in the past, I was going to say 2 weeks, we all know that gun violence has gone on beyond that, beyond the massage parlors in Atlanta, beyond the grocery store in Colorado. This has been going on for decades, and it's disgusting because it's always these bitch ass beta male white men with their dumpy fucking bodies, their crazy eyes, and a whole bunch of people around them who are like, that dude was never right. He was never right in the head, right? So look, we need to do something about this. And the reason I'm in favor of gun control is because I know that whatever restrictions might happen, whatever hoops the government might make somebody jump through to get a gun, I can pass them. I can pass it. Criminal background check? Fine. Psychological test? Okay. Terrorist watch list? No sweat. High taxes? They're expensive? I got it. I'm not afraid of any sort of regulation because I know what kind of person I am. I'm sane. I'm safe. I'm judicious. I'm healthy. I'm wealthy. So bring it on. So the people who are like, oh, you can't take it away from the mentally ill. Are you mentally ill? Are you the next shooter? Don't raise the taxes on them. I'm gonna have to pay $300 for these guns. Yeah, dude, maybe so. Maybe guns are now a thing that only rich people get to have. Remember we were talking about like the right versus the entitlement? You have the right to bear arms in America. You know, I wish I could take that out of the Constitution. Sorry, my lash is like making me crazy. But we can't. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we could. We could just exit out, whatever. You have the right to a gun. You're not entitled to have a gun. I have the right to own a private jet. I mean, there's no law against it. But I don't feel like I just get to have one. Well, where the fuck is my private jet? What do you mean they cost $30 million? You're just going to charge me a lot of money for a jet? Yes. You've accidentally arrived at the exact right conclusion. So people who are like, oh, well, I can't afford to pay that for guns. Well, then you don't get to have them. Like literally anything else on planet Earth. A couture gown, a private yacht, a horse. If you can't afford it, you shouldn't get to have it. Just because the Constitution says like, we're allowed to. Okay, I'm allowed to marry Idris Elba. I don't think I'm going to. I don't get to show up at his house and be like, well, what's up, bro? Come on. Oh, so dreamy. I would wait outside his house and see if he loved me. Oh, he wouldn't. That's fine. So to me, when people are like, oh, come take my guns, dude, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Guns are really fun. And yeah, people in Montana, we have an extremely, almost non-existent instance of like shootings. We have no mass shootings. We just don't have a lot of gun violence. And I think the reason, I'm sorry, this is making me, it's like poking into my eye. I think the reason we don't have gun violence is because everyone assumes everyone else is armed. Like, you're not going to draw on someone at Winco at the grocery store because you know they're going to draw on you. Montana is an open carry state, which means you cannot put your gun in a concealed, you can't carry it in your purse. You can have it in your car concealed, but if you're like out and about, people have to be able to see it. You have to wear it on a holster like it's the Wild West, because it is. You can carry an AR into Walmart, but that's the thing, you have to carry it. People have to know that you're armed. If you want to conceal it, and I know that this seems kind of backwards, a lot of gun laws are, they don't make a lot of sense to me. If you want to conceal it, you have to go through a very rigorous training course. You have to get a concealed carry permit, and it's not like a emotional support animal permit. They're like, boop. No, it's a whole thing. It's a whole fucking thing. And you have to pass all these other courses before you can even qualify for the concealed carry. People in Montana take guns very, very seriously. It's a fun state. It's a redneck state, but when it comes to guns, it's like, no, hey, it lives in that case and we got the key and we're going to go down range. You got your ear protection in, your eye protection. I mean, we don't just freestyle around with this shit. And again, we have low population density. People aren't up in each other's business. We're a libertarian state, and not even in terms of voting. Votes Republican, I know. But in terms of like sentiment, it's very much like you do your thing, whether that means you're gay or you're homesteading or you're whatever. I'm going to do my thing. I'll help you if you need help, but I'm going to stay out of your lane, but you stay out of mine. It's a whole different sensibility that we have as a luxury because we have low population density. Miami doesn't have that luxury. New York, Chicago, Dallas, they have too many people to have that, hey, live and let live mentality. It's get the fuck out of that parking space. Everyone's on 10 in big cities. Montana, not so much. So it's annoying to me that people like my fellow like statesmen are like, come and take these guns. Like, dude, relax, Cooley, relax. People use guns to hunt. You know, it's hunting season's big. People don't always just hunt for sport in Montana. Everyone I know who hunts, they eat it. They donate the meat to like a food bank. I hit a deer with my car. It was the most awful thing of it. It was the most awful thing in the world. I hit a deer with my truck. It was the most awful thing. It was the most awful thing. Oh my God. But I called my boyfriend at the time. I was like beside myself. I was hysterical. And he's like, I'm sending my friends down there to get the deer, the dead deer, because they're going to eat it. And I was like, what? And he's like, it's a circle of life. Like, its life has meaning. It's not going to waste. But that's how it is. You hit something, it goes. Anyway, I digress. Really good hunters can hunt with a bow and arrow. Elk season starts usually in the fall. I think elk season is in the fall. Elk rifle season, so you can kill it with a rifle. But before rifle season is bow season. That means only people who are hunting with a bow and arrow can go hunt an elk. Like I said, I'll never hunt. It's not my thing. You know, I've always grown up thinking it's so cruel. It's so cruel. And then you learn about like factory farming, like beef farming, commercial hogs. I mean, that's not better. It's just, the whole thing is fucked up. I mean, I really do believe now that hunting is less cruel. These animals have a free, healthy life, and they have one bad day. But their hide is used, their pelt is used, their meat is eaten, their horns, I still just don't want any part of it. And I don't even need a ton of meat because I want to opt out of all of it. But, you know, I say to my guy friends, if you're a really good hunter, you can bow hunt. You can bow hunt. We're not talking like, you know, old school, it's like these huge bows, because compression bows. I can't even pull one. My ex-boyfriend had one. I'm like, no, my nails. So I feel like my statesmen are running out of excuses for why we can't limit gun violence. Like, of course, people in Montana might be smarter about this than like crazy people in Colorado. Every state is very patriotic. It's like, we're not the crazy ones. They're the crazy ones. But I do believe in Montana, we're right. We're crazy in our own way, but we're like inward. We're not like outward crazy. I don't know, man. So I just feel like, if you really do love guns and if you love your right to guns, then you shouldn't want everyone else to have access to them. It should be something kind of special, something you have to really, really qualify for, whether that's financially, experientially, logistically, whatever it is, psychologically, you should have to qualify for it. Who has something that they really love that they want everyone else to have too? We're just not built like that. That's just like not human nature, you know? It's like, this is mine. So I think if people really do love their guns, they should want it to be stricter to have access to. That makes sense to me. And like I said, I love them. They're so fun. They take me out of my head. They get me very focused. I focus my mind and my body. But if someone's like, you can't have them anymore, okay. If that's for the greater good, okay. I mean, you need a license and a whole questionnaire thing to catch a fish, to cut hair. The fact that guns are so accessible is ridiculous. I got my guns in 15 minutes each. I guess they did a background check. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they did, but I don't know if it's like statewide. I don't know if it's worldwide. I mean, did they liaise with Interpol? I could be a fugitive from Spain. Nobody knows. I don't know how deep that goes, but it should go pretty deep. And again, fine, go as deep as you want. I don't give a shit. I have nothing to hide. I live my life as a sane, responsible citizen. And the fact that we are allowing insane, irresponsible people the same access to something, that's crazy. Do you think they should have the same access to, like, if you have a private jet, you think everyone should have a private jet? The skies would be clogged, right? You paid for a first class seat. Well, no, that crazy man in the back of the plane, he wants to sit in first class. So he should be able to sit in first class. Well, why not? It's his right. So he should have access to it. Give him your seat. Give him your seat. No, I don't think so. So to recap, if you don't think there should be any regulations on guns, then maybe you're afraid that you can't pass whatever those regulations would be. Sorry about it. I can. I'm not afraid of laws because I'm a law-abiding person. I'm not afraid of taxes because I'm someone willing to pay my taxes. I'm not afraid of having something taken away from me because I don't base my personal power in my shotgun. I like it. It does give me a sense of peace and safety. But if I didn't have it, I'm smart enough to be able to figure out other safety measures. And I would think that white men in America could do the same. I want to know your thoughts on gun control. I know that you guys who live in other countries are like deeply disgusted by the amount of weapons we have in America. I get it. We know. We hear it. We get it. Americans, though, what do you guys think? Do you own guns? How do you feel about the prospect of being limited in terms of, getting an AR? I almost bought an AR before I left Montana. I probably will, just because that's what I learned on. An M16 is an AR. And it's the weapon that feels the most like home to me. I know how to use it. I'm like, oh, I'm in tune with this weapon. I'm not going to shoot it outside of a shooting range, though. So, okay. But I am fine not having access to an AR, no matter how much I love them, if it's keeping other people safe. I want to know your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. Are you a Republican or a Democrat? Do you want more gun control, less gun control? Let me know your thoughts. And we're going to be back next time, Shalligators, back to our old tricks, breaking down celebrity gossip, the lessons we can learn. I'll see you later, Gators.